Stimulus update. Some Americans could soon get ongoing $1,000 stimulus checks. This just coming out this month, and ongoing means every single month. Now, we're going to be looking at this article in detail as well as some other ones that have come out, and we're going to be discussing this on various levels because this has been proposed to low income in various areas, but also on a federal level to everybody in the nation. That is right. Now, take a look at this. This was introduced as the Freedom Dividend by Andrew Yang, who said that everybody in the nation should be getting $1,000 per month that's over the age of 18. Now, what's interesting is that when he first had proposed this, everybody said it was ridiculous. Most people did not accept it. However, after the pandemic hit, we saw stimulus checks roll out, and then right after that, there was a ton of programs just like this for different cities, states, and counties. And I've got a list of over 100 different ones at my website, www.reliefroadmap.com, if you don't believe me. And now they're saying maybe we should take into consideration this on a federal level. Now, take a look. Andrew Yang had proposed this. He wanted to implement it if he became the president in 2020. And he said that he would implement the Freedom Dividend, which is a universal basic income program or UBI program of $1,000 per month or $12,000 per year for every American adult over the age of 18. Now, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. This would be independent of one's work status or any other factor. So if you collect Social Security, any type of benefits, if you work or if you don't, you would still get this if you're over the age of 18. This would enable all Americans to pay their bills, educate themselves, start businesses, be more creative, stay healthy, relocate for work, spend time with their children, take care of their loved ones, and have a real stake in their future. This was proposed by Andrew Yang to be implemented if he became the president on a federal level to everybody in the nation. Now, in addition to that, we've seen various versions of this on local levels as well. And take a look, there's still proposals coming out. Could Minnesota's proposed rebate check fuel even higher inflation, as Minnesota is still fighting for stimulus checks? And this is a new one, just came out March 20th for $1,000. Also, Schaumburg considers $1,000 inflation relief payments for full-time workers. Here's another one I let you know about earlier. New Mexico is now proposing $500 rebates for individuals, $1,000 for couples filing jointly. And also, we're going to be diving into this one as well, which is $1,000 stimulus checks on a monthly basis to go out. So let me know your thoughts. This is the latest coming out on more stimulus provisions, and I'll keep you up to date on this as well as Social Security or any other provisions that might be able to help out you and your family. And if you appreciate that, before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Smash the like button. Just takes a second. Helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. And if you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? I'll let you know everything taking place. All you got to do is very quickly hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. But with that being said, you guys, let's take a look at these and get you caught up on the latest, and let me know your thoughts about $1,000 stimulus checks every single month. All right, so first let's take a look at these proposals on local levels, and then we'll discuss on a federal level more stimulus. Now, all these articles are linked in the description below if you'd like to read them for yourself. Could Minnesota's proposed rebate checks fuel even higher inflation? The article says that in debates at the state capitol about proposed rebate checks for Minnesotans, the talking points are mostly around using them to help residents cope with high inflation. But could the infusion of cash into people's bank accounts also make inflation worse, or at least a little harder to bring back down? Well, Governor Tim Walz and state lawmakers are pushing for the tax rebates, and they don't think so, saying that the checks would be insignificant compared to the global and national forces that have been making goods and services more expensive throughout the last couple of years. So they're saying as long as it's small and just focused and targeted, it's not going to have that big of an impact. But it's a question that's been on the minds of some economists. One state on its own issuing rebate checks probably won't make much more of a difference. But with many states cutting rebate checks in 2022 and more, like Minnesota, thinking about joining them this year as well, some experts say that it could add up to have more of a noticeable impact. So if too many are doing this, they're saying it could add up. Now, Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis President Neil Kashkari has said that it has given him a pause as states in the region, including Minnesota, consider using a portion of their significant budget surpluses to distribute rebate checks to residents. And he says, as a taxpayer, that sounds pretty good to me. But as a monetary policymaker, That sounds like more stimulus, and that's putting more money into people's pockets to go out and spend on airplane tickets and food and buying things. So let me know your thoughts. They're saying that it's good to help out the people. However, this also could spark further inflation, which could make it even more difficult for people to be able to afford things. Schaumburg, here's a new one. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Looks like it's in Illinois, is considering $1,000 inflation relief payments for full-time workers. Now, this article says that having recently approved $150 rebates for every owner-occupied household in the village, Schaumburg officials now are considering $1,000 payments for full-time employees and $500 payments for part-time to help them bear with the impacts of inflation. The source of all the money is the surplus in the village's general funds, projected to be about $18.3 million at the end of the current fiscal year on April 30th. And there are so many situations like this with excess funding, and they're saying, what do we do with all the money? And a lot of them are saying, send it out to the people. Now, we also have that exact same situation on a federal level with leftover stimulus funds. I've been letting you know, keeping an eye on the funding. And just to let you know, it seems like Congress has forgotten. Well, they haven't. If you missed my most recent videos, check it out. They have been spending that money on what? Well, we're not sure, but take a look at this article. Though the pandemic caused Schaumburg to suffer a severe decrease in its revenues, the current climate combining economic recovery and inflation has been kinder to the village's finances. Gift cards are being mailed out to the villagers, approximately 19,500 homeowners this month, at a cost of about $2.9 million. The estimated cost of the employees' payments is going to be around $441,500 for both the 407 full-timers and the 69 part-timers expected to be working for the village on April 1st. Schaumburg's Finance Committee unanimously recommended the payments, and the full village board is scheduled to vote on the final approval Tuesday, March 28th. So, March 28th, you will find out in Schaumburg if you're supposed to get these checks. Staff was extremely helpful through the pandemic. The trustee, George Durman, who's the chair of the Finance Committee, said this is a way to give them a reward for that. So, we will see. I'll keep you up to date on that one. Also, New Mexico, I've already let you know. Take a look at this. New Mexico taxpayers could be taking home an additional $500 to $1,000 this year, pending a flick of Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's pen on House Bill 547, which passed the state and House in the Senate on March 18th and would offer rebates to New Mexican taxpayers who filed 2021 returns. But how do these rebate works for those in New Mexico? Well, at the moment, the details are scarce as the New Mexico Department of Taxation and Revenue awaits action from the governor, who has until April 7th to sign the bill. But a spokesperson for the department said that it would most be akin to one of two rebates offered last year. And as you know, you received 2 stimulus checks last year from New Mexico. They're saying it would likely be like those, and you would get $500 for individuals, $1,000 for married couples. All right, so before we get to $1,000 stimulus checks monthly reoccurring on a federal level, let's discuss one more that came out March 13th in one state, and this is going to be Oregon. Take a look. Lawmakers in Oregon are currently launching a program that would provide an ongoing $1,000 payment to certain eligible residents, so this is already on the way. Now, it says that the payments would be a part of a Universal Basic Income Program, or UBI program, and are being compared with the federal level stimulus checks that were issued during the pandemic, and that is because researchers suggest that these checks were similar to the massive UBI efforts because they provided cash with no strings attached. Here's what Oregon's new program would look like, along with some of the details of who might be in line to get these benefits. Now, I've let you guys know here on the channel that when these programs come out, if you are eligible, please stop what you are doing and apply. Jump on this because they have already set this money aside to go out, and sometimes there's limited spots available, limited time to apply. You need to act on these quickly. Now, here's who would get the $1,000 checks. This is proposed from Senate Bill 603. It has $25 million in it to create a People's Housing Assistance Fund demonstration program. This would be a pilot program that would enable a total of 1,000 participants, so that's all who's going to get this in Oregon, to receive $1,000 per month over the course of 2 years. So for 2 years, you would get $1,000 per month. The checks would be available to Oregon residents who currently do not receive any housing assistance and who have incomes that are below 60% of the area's median. The program would operate statewide, making it the first UBI program carried out on a state level for Oregon. Now, when the funds are distributed, a comprehensive study will be conducted to assess the effectiveness of the program and its implementation. The goal would be to determine if it should be be expanded to include more people going forward. So I've let you guys know as well, if you miss a window of opportunity to apply for a program like this, do not give up. Keep an eye on it. I keep them on my list because we see phase 2, phase 3, and they start to continue on and get more funding. The $1,000 UBI program was one of several plans that were considered by resident organizations for change, along with stimulus checks that would be deposited into people's bank accounts or sent via check. All right, so now what if we did this on a federal level to everybody in the nation, like was proposed with the Freedom Dividend by Andrew Yang? Well, let's take a look at what was proposed with $1,000 per month, and he has some numbers here that say a universal basic income at this level would permanently grow the economy by 12 to 13% at about $2.5 trillion by the year 2025. So from 2020 to 2025, $2.5 trillion, which means about $500 billion per year. Now, the question is, will that revenue that we'll bring in exceed the expenses going out to send out these checks? I'm going to let you know right now. I can tell you the answer is no. And that is because, take a look here with me, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, which has tracked all of the stimulus that has gone out, you can see here that the $600 stimulus check that went out, one-time payment, had a price tag of $164 billion. The $1,200 stimulus check had a price tag of almost $300 billion, which means a $1,000 stimulus check one-time payment would cost around $220 billion roughly. Now, that's one time. We're going to send this out 12 times over the course of a year. That's going to have a price tag of roughly about $2.6 trillion, which means that the expenses to send out these monthly checks 1 year would exceed the gains over the course of 5 years. So this would significantly put our nation into debt, which means that this current proposal that he has here, just letting you know that this probably would be inflationary and it would not pay for itself. Now, you could make the argument maybe it could be more targeted specifically to the low income, so that way it's not going out to everybody. Let me know your thoughts. But as it is currently written by Andrew Yang, this is definitely having the expenses far exceed the revenues. And again, if you want to get more information about the current funding that's available from leftover stimulus funds, check out this video right here as I covered the latest details for you. And I let you know that Congress, they have not forgotten about those funds, even though they're not talking about stimulus checks, because the money is getting spent. Check out that video next to see the latest. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll keep you up to date as more information rolls out. But with that being said, take care. God bless. This is Steve.